This is Performance Anxiety on the Pantheon Podcast Network, and I'm your host, Mark. Today's guest makes me feel blessed. Her name is Miist. She's a singer-songwriter with an incredible story. She grew up in China and had no ambitions of being a musician. She would sing songs with her father as a kid, but that was really the extent of her musical experience. She moved to Canada, where she was an accountant. But a startling cancer misdiagnosis completely changed her life. She bought a ukulele and began singing as a way of working through her cancer treatments. She would post them on Instagram, which is how she met her future husband. But she still didn't consider herself a musician. It wasn't until a friend encouraged her to give songwriting a try that she realized her gift. She figured she'd do it just to get him off her back. She wrote 3 songs that day. Since then, she's worked with her friend and producer Narda Michael Walden, wrote with luminaries like Carlos Santana, and has released her first album, The Songs from the Living Room. It is truly one of the most incredible stories I've heard since starting this podcast. Please follow Miist, M-I-I-S-T, at Miist the Singer on social media. You can go to miistthesinger.com to get the links and buy her debut album, or stream it on your platform of choice. Follow us at Performance ANX on socials. Our merch is available at performanceanx.threadless.com and or fuel us with coffee money at ko-fi.com/performanceanxiety. Now it's time to let Miist tell her story on Performance Anxiety on the Pantheon Podcast Network.
Okay, now I'm ready. Hello, I'm Miist. I'm on Performance Anxiety right now with Mark, and my album. Sorry, I'm so nervous. Thank you. My new album, The Songs from the Living Room, is out now. You can find it on every major music platform. It's produced by multi-Grammy winning producer Narda Michael Walden, and he's singing a couple of songs on the album with me. I hope you check it out, and I hope you enjoy my music.
Thank you for hopping on tonight and talking about your music. I'm really excited.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's jump into things. I wanted to find out more about, how you got into music in general, because you've got a very unique story. And I want to find out a little bit more about how everything unfolded. So you're born in China and then emigrated to the U.S.?
Correct. Yeah, through marriage, I immigrated to the U.S.
Okay.
And I became a stay-at-home wife and mom until sometime during COVID, a friend kept telling me, you have the ability to write music. And I was so scared by the idea because everything I know how to do until now, I know I learned it. But writing music was not something I've ever learned. I don't even have music background. So I fought that idea for 6 months until one day I was like, okay, stop telling me this. I'm done with it. I'm just gonna sit down at the piano and I'm gonna try to write music. And I'm gonna prove you wrong. And I wrote 3 songs that day.
That's amazing. So
thank you. Ever since then, music, mostly songwriting became a way for my emotions to come out of me. Finally, they feel free to come out because I've always felt my emotions are stuck in me. I don't feel safe enough to share them just by telling them to somebody. But through music, I feel free to express all my deepest emotions.
Oh, that is beautiful. So, when you were in China, was music important to you at all? Did you listen to a lot of it? And what did you listen to? Was there a lot of Western music, or was it more Chinese music, Chinese pop, or?
There were both of them in China. I listened to both too, but I mostly listen to Chinese songs. And they're mostly like sad ballads. Those are very popular in China. And you don't need a strong hook. people can remember the whole chorus, and in concerts they sing along the whole chorus, doesn't matter how long they are.
Wow.
That's what Chinese people like, and that's what I used to listen to all the time. But I find it very interesting you asked how important music was to me. It's until recent months I realized that music has more meaning to me than just listening to them and feel the emotions of the other artists. Is my parents dropped me off at boarding school when I was little, so I felt abandoned, and my dad actually left the family and never came back. But one of the memories I always remember is before he left, we used to sing to the old songbooks with just simple melody notes and all the lyrics in there. Okay. We sing the whole book. And I think that's why music was important to me, because when he left, I held on to the music.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Did you learn to play any instruments while you're in China, or with your parents? Any lessons or anything?
I tried a few times, but always gave up right after a few lessons. I could not learn that way. But after I started writing songs, I also taught myself to play the piano. And during my cancer journey, I also taught myself to play ukulele, and I can play a little bit guitar, just enough to sing along.
Oh, wow. Oh, the cancer part's not awesome, but the rest of it was awesome.
Thank you.
So what were you doing for a career before music took over?
I was an accountant.
Wow.
Funny enough, I was an accountant of a music store. We sell instruments. Everybody who works there, except me, can play instruments. I was a non-music person in the whole store. I had no idea.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. This whole story is it's amazing. So did you sing at all? I know you mentioned, singing with your dad and all, but throughout this whole time, you may not have been playing any instruments, but were you singing at all? Or were you just, was it more like singing in the shower kind of a thing?
Definitely. But I've always enjoyed singing because my dad taught me to sing to the music books. And I've kept singing mostly to myself, never on a stage to perform kind of sing. But I did post 1 or 2 videos of me singing on my ukulele on Instagram. And that kind of led me to my marriage, because when my husband, when we were checking each other out on Instagram before we started talking, that's what got his attention.
Oh, wow.
And he was playing one of my ukulele singing video to my daughter. That was his daughter at that time. And before bed, they would listen to my songs. And she started crying every time when she listened to my songs. And she asked for more. That's how we started talking, because he wants to ask me for more songs.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That is the most beautiful story.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. That's just making me smile right now. Oh, wow. So you just on a whim, you just decided, you just posted a couple songs, and it led to a marriage and moving to the US. And wow. Is your husband in the music industry at all? Does he have anything to do with music? I'm sure, I can guess right now he's very supportive, but is he in the industry at all?
He is now because of me, but he was not. He had to learn everything to be part of this industry. Wow. But he is a self-taught pianist.
Oh, wow. That's one of those things that I am a very poorly self-taught guitarist. I can't imagine trying to teach myself piano. I have a piano downstairs that I inherited, and I can't imagine trying to teach myself how to play. My kids play fine, but I'm just like...
It takes a lot of discipline. You just have to practice a lot. Yeah.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. You mentioned that you started writing music. You wrote 3 songs in your first attempt. How did your friend know that you had this ability? Were you singing around him or playing music at all around him?
Just sing on my ukulele, sing other people's songs, but from how I sing the songs, he could tell that I have the ability to write music. I still find that's the hardest part for me to understand. And he just knew.
That is amazing. That if he isn't already, he should be a talent scout because he hit a home run with you.
Thank you.
So you got a much later start in this than most people. When did this all take place? How long ago was when you did you start writing music?
Just during pandemic.
Wow. So at most 3 years ago? At 2
Yeah,
3 years
about
ago?
2.5. Yeah.
Oh my God. So you've got a lot of music written from what I understand, and you've got an album set to come out.
Yes.
And I was curious, those 3 songs that you wrote that very first day, did any of those become any of the music that's coming out on your new album?
No.
Okay.
But I started low. I wrote my dog the first song. Then I wrote the second song to my daughter. It's a lullaby to her, which we sing every night until now.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And the third song I wrote to my husband.
This whole story is just making me smile uncontrollably. Oh, when you're writing music, is it? And I don't even know how to phrase this question correctly. Growing up in China, but writing music, are you thinking lyrically in English or Chinese? Or is it, because I know on your album you do have a couple songs that you've done in both languages. So is there one that's predominant?
So I understand songwriters, some write first melody, some first words. I'm the melody first kind of person.
Okay.
When I'm moved by a story, either my story or some other people's story, I feel the emotion of either myself at that moment in the story or other people in the story. Then when that emotion is strong enough, I see a whole movie of that story in my head, and with the emotion and with the picture, I just hear the melody. It usually comes out as a whole song. And then I try to fit words to describe each part of the emotion.
Okay. So when it comes to when you're thinking more visually, and you got the melody in your head, and a story comes to you visually, then you have to write it down. That's really interesting. I know I've heard a lot of people they're like, oh, the lyrics just come rushing and I have to write them down, but you're more of a visual songwriter.
Yes. And when we do music videos, a lot of times we can use the visual that I saw originally in the songwriting process in the music video.
Oh, that is excellent. Is that how you came up with a lot of your videos that you've already shot?
A lot of them, at least we use some of it. Sometimes I see a movie that is too expensive to film. One time I saw 2 buses, and that's really hard to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good.
But we try to convey the same idea. So
you're thinking visually, and then when it comes to the videos, you kind of have to do it on a budget then.
Definitely.
I can understand that one completely. So you started off kind of to prove your friend wrong that you couldn't write songs, ended up writing 3 songs that day. It's that's one thing, to be able to have the talent to do that, to write and play music. But it's a whole other thing to find a producer willing to come and help you develop. How did you start working with your producer?
So even though we were never in this industry, but we understand for people to be interested in your music, it needs some kind of decent produced version. You can't just make a whole version and say, this is an amazing song. You just need to imagine when it's finished producing. Right. So we have to produce it to a certain level. So we did produce about 6 songs to a professional level, but not very big pop production.
Okay.
And everywhere we go, when we talk to people, we ask each other, what do you do? And me and my husband will tell them what I do now. Eventually, through some friends, my song got to Michael Walden.
Okay. Wow. So it wasn't the same one that convinced you to write a song, was it?
Definitely.
That dude has got your back. That's a great friend.
He's been mentoring me so much. I have to tell you the story. Just go back a little bit. After he heard my music, he wanted to set up a meeting right away. And it was supposed to be just a short meet to know each other a little bit. But because we liked each other a lot, we ended up start writing songs and playing songs for 3 hours until he had to go.
Wow.
And that meeting, he said he wants to produce my album. And I was still feeling everything unreal. So I told him, I'm not afraid to dream again. And right away he said, you should write a song about that. That's the song.
Oh, that's a great song too.
Is there so much to ask for? Just a smile. Ooh, I'm not afraid to dream again. I just needed to believe. I'm not afraid to dream again. You've been up my heart.
When you're writing these songs, do you have to? Well, I guess have to. Are you writing every day? Is it something that you make yourself do? You sit down and write, or is it something that's coming to you right now? It's so new. It's just flowing through you.
Okay. I'm story driven. There has to be a story so I can feel the emotion. Then I write.
Okay.
So I don't write every day, but when there is a good story, I have to write it. Almost like I can't stop thinking about it until it's a song.
Ah, okay. That.
It happened a few times.
What's the earliest song on the new album? What's the oldest song, I guess?
In this album, I think the oldest one is the duet with Narda.
Oh,
It's Too Late to Love You.
And he's duetting with you on that, right?
He's not writing with me. I wrote. That's one of the first songs I brought to our first meeting. That's the first song actually I sang for him.
We can't even remember, we can't even forget. It's time to let us go. It wasn't long ago I said I love and hold to you. You said you cherish me for life. Wasn't that true? It wasn't long ago.
But he's performing on it, correct?
He's also performing on it now.
Oh, man. And I believe I read that you had Bryan Adams in mind with this.
Yes.
Man, he missed out.
And we actually sent it to him and he replied.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, he very kindly, respectfully declined because he's on tour.
Oh, well, he missed out because it's a great song. And it's funny because you got several songs on the album, and that was one of them I wanted to point out, that I get such a Barbara Streisand feeling from those songs. It could be something that she wrote or performed.
She's my favorite singer.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much.
Oh, that is. There's a couple. I have to remember exactly which ones, but that was one of them. That because my mom would listen to her, and she was on the radio all the time when I was growing up, and so I would hear all these ballads that she wrote, and they're beautiful. Now I'm a rock and roll kind of guy, so I wasn't into it at the time, but I heard a lot of it, and later on I can respect the quality, the just the talent in the songwriting and the performance. And it's your music is, especially that song and a few others, are just very reminiscent. Give Her My Love is another one.
The sweet and the bitter, the good and the sad is forget it all. Today I won't cry anymore. When my last tears dried, I was finally done. I release you, you can go, you are free as you want. I hope you find her, go hold her, I'd love her more. Your heart, give her my love.
They're just very reminiscent of her, and that was very striking to me for someone who just got started in this like 2 years ago.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all the qualities you mentioned about her, especially the way she tells story. So when you said my songs remind you of her, it's the best compliment I could ever get.
Oh, that makes me so happy. But it's true. It's just, you are an excellent storyteller through your music, and so is Barbara Streisand. So. And the songs musically sound like something that she would do. So if that's what you're aiming for, congratulations, because you have hit it.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. I did want to say that out of everything that's on the album, my absolute favorite is Remember Me Again. There's something about that song. Your vocals on that are absolutely perfect.
Breathe me in, breathe me out. Hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me. Breathe me in, breathe me out. Hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me. You breathe me into you, hold me into you. Remember me again when your lips kissed your lover.
That's absolutely my favorite song on the album. And I find myself singing it, humming it in my head at work and listening to it in the car. To me, that's the best on the album.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it takes a person who has a story to understand that song. Not everyone can appreciate that one.
And you've written with some incredible people. I do believe I heard that you wrote with Carlos Santana at some point.
So after I met him at Narda's studio, Carlos is the kind of person, it's like he lives the music. He not only just think about it, he lives it. So when he saw me, the Chinese look just give him, just right away he's thinking music. So he started sharing music that he will listen to that's related to the vibe I brought into the room.
Oh, wow.
So there were some strong Asian influenced music. And he asked me to write words for some songs, and he asked for specific songs in Chinese style. So I did write those for him.
Oh, wow. So is that music out at all, or is it still yet to be
But
released?
just for him at this moment, we were talking about working on some of those songs together. So under discussion.
So there is, and I don't know if maybe it was inspired by that, or maybe this is something completely different, but the song Let the Music Fill You. So you did that in English and Spanish.
Yes.
And that guitar solo sounds so much like Carlos. That sounds...
That's written after I met Carlos, and we were talking about working on a song together. I thought he would prefer what he's comfortable with, so I wrote a Latin funk song for him.
Ay, hermana, que ganas de bailar. No es eso para lo que venimos. Don't wanna sit here listening to the beat. Grab my hand and take me away. Hey, just look around you, people in the street, dancing to the music. Let's play. Hey, let the music fill you. Let this help you.
But he wants Chinese. That's why we changed our course to Chinese later. But this song was already written, and Narda and I both love it. So we found a guitarist who absolutely loves Carlos and let him play on this song. Also, Carl Parasso, Santana's percussionist, was playing the percussions on this song.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Well, he nailed it because it sounds note for note like something Santana would do. So that's incredible. And
Yeah.
you also did a Spanish version of that. Was that difficult? I mean, you've got Chinese versions of songs, English versions of songs, and now English and Spanish. How many languages do you know? And is it difficult to go back and forth?
I enjoyed doing the Spanish version a lot. Even though I didn't speak any Spanish before, I still don't. I only know all the words in that one song. I just came back from Chile and Argentina. In Argentina, we filmed the music video of that song. And my husband was telling me, speak some Spanish to the Argentine people. And I said, I only know how to say the words from the song. But if you look at the words in the song, if I speak to people like that, they're going to think I'm crazy. It's like, dance with me. Let the music fill you.
That might be great. You might want to do that and film it for one of your videos.
Oh, I know. That would be very funny. But I did get a lot of help from some amazing people. I had an Argentine singer translate it for me from English. She did a great job, and she helped me a little with the speaking. I had a Guatemala tutor for Spanish speaking.
Okay.
I had a Cuban vocal coach to teach me how to sing it properly. Then Tony Sucar, another multi-Grammy winning producer, co-produced with Narda on the Spanish version, and he's Peruvian. So I got Spanish help from different places. Then I ended up with a in the middle accent.
You got a whole education on Latin America and
Definitely. I enjoyed it so much.
Speaking of other languages, I listened to She in Chinese first. And I think I realized something because I love music in foreign languages that are foreign to me, not obviously not you. But I think it's because I don't know what you're saying, and so I'm making it up in my head based on what I'm hearing. And you get so much emotion across, even though I don't know what you're saying when I'm listening to it in Chinese. It's just beautiful.
它仍在每个平凡的
hard to change from one language to another, keep the same song, but change from one language to another and keep the same feeling, the same, I guess, premise for the song?
It's funny. Everybody, after they listen to both English and Chinese version, most of them don't understand Chinese at all, but they always love my Chinese versions. I think it's because it's my heart language. Even though I try hard on both of them, the Chinese versions always turn out to be better.
I can understand that. Then I guess the next thing I have to figure out is your name. You go by Miist, Miist. How did you come up with the name Miist? And is there any meaning between two eyes, or is it just a way to set you apart?
That was way before I even met Narda. So I had no career. It was just, I just started writing. It was not going anywhere at that point. But on a road trip, the family, whole family was in the same car, and we were listening to the songs on the radio, and I realized there are some one-name singers. Since I started writing, I said, okay, if one day I became a singer, I want to be a one-word name singer.
Okay.
And then the family started asking me, then which word do you want? I said, I don't know which word, but I want something that means it's refreshing, but it's not always in your face. Oh. Then we started going through some words. Eventually, Miist came to our mind. Then, just like you said, we want to set me apart from just the word M-I-S-T, so we added another I.
Oh, I love it. It's so clever.
Thank you.
I think that, like I had mentioned, some of the songs are very reminiscent of Barbra Streisand. Do you think that some of your music could be, or do you write? I know you said you write visually and it's a story. I think some of these could be used on stage or in a theatrical production or movie. Is that something that you're pursuing, or is that something that you think of when you're writing? Like this could be a whole movie in and of itself, not just a music video.
Definitely, because I already saw a movie and I can feel this emotion could easily fit in a lot of love stories or just relationship, mother and daughter, father and daughter. I write about all kinds of relationships and I always see them in a movie kind of story. So yeah, that's what we're working on right now. We would like to have some opportunities, not only for the existing songs, even though I do have a big catalog now, but I would also love to write some songs for certain movies.
You would be a natural for that.
I would love that. If they show me what's going on in the story, it will be so easy to write the song. I don't have to imagine so much. Just feel it.
Exactly. That's exactly how you do it.
Yeah.
So what does your family think of this transformation? You from accountant and mom to professional musician. And I mean, do your family here in the U.S., family in China, what do they think of all of this?
In the U.S., it's just me, my husband, and my daughter. So most of my family are in China, and I don't think they understand how this works. Yeah, I think after a while, they just accepted it. It's the fact that I'm doing it. And every time I send them something, they're like, whoa, how did you do that? That's how they feel about it.
Wow. That's got to be so shocking to them.
Yeah, it is. And I totally understand because I don't understand how I'm doing it. I just feel the emotion and the music came out. So it's not me. It's a God-given gift. I'm just using the gift he gave me.
I love that.
That's how I understand it.
I love
That's the only way that this can make sense.
Yeah, it's true, because it's just amazing that you didn't even know you had this talent, and it just appeared when somebody else recognized it and said, just try it. And it took you a while, but you finally said, okay.
Yeah, once the mental block was removed, everything came out smoothly.
I love this whole story. So one of the things that I found fascinating about your album is that there are a lot of different musical styles and genres on there. You've some pop, you've got dance. Like I said, Narda even raps in one of them. It's really just a great mix of sounds. But I heard that you've kind of ventured out into maybe like even rock and country because you're inspired by a drummer.
Definitely. So he's the lead drummer of Primus, the rock band.
Tim Alexander.
You know who he is? Yes, Tim Alexander.
I love Primus so much.
Okay, so Tim Alexander, do you know he paints? He's an artist.
No.
That's recent.
Oh.
It's recent. So we became friends, and me and my husband with him and his wife, and our daughters are friends too. So at a dinner party, we started asking him questions, and he explained that usually on tour, you feel alive, you feel the high energy from people and the show. You love it very much. But when you come home, it's just like the next day you start packing lunch for your daughter, and it's a normal life. It's a big change. And sometimes artists have a hard time adjusting it and start feeling depressed.
Okay, I can understand that.
He discovered he could paint, and that helped him calm these emotions down and find balance between the two different kind of lives.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I went to his art show, and I was looking at his art and listening to his wife telling me the whole story. And I was just so touched by his story. So the next day I wrote him a song called It's Your Story Now. It's saying sometimes we feel little things are missing in life. It's not because we don't love our family, we don't love this life. It's just there's a little bit of me missing in this. But he found his painting, and we can all find that little piece that makes us complete. Then we can say, it's my story now.
Oh,
so I was telling you, it's your story now.
Oh, I love it. So now, okay, so the next question I have, when you do songs like that, are those specifically for that artist, or would they ever see the light of day, or are they just given to that artist and they can do what they want with them?
So it's still my song, but I show it to them, and he felt very touched, and he felt it said what he felt. But the songs usually just become part of my catalog, and I save them for later.
Okay.
When I prepare my next album, I'll go through all the songs and find out which set I want to be in the album. And I think one day, sooner or later, they will all be produced.
Oh, that is awesome. And from what I have heard, you've got, I think, over 60 songs that you've already written.
Yeah. By now it's about over 65.
Oh my God. And by the end of this podcast, it'll be like 70. All right. So I discovered you through mutual acquaintances through Teen Cancer America. How did you start your relationship with Teen Cancer America? Because my PR team find out about my cancer journey. Okay. Then realized, okay, this could be a good fit. I told them about my cancer story. Then, they connect us with Teen Cancer America. Okay. Do you want to hear the story? Yeah, I'm always about to, as long as it's something you're comfortable telling. I'm very comfortable telling it. So in 2016,
on a trip back from China at that time I was in Canada, from China back to Canada from visiting family, I felt very sick on the plane that I've never felt before. And even afterwards, I had abdominal pain for a while. So I went to see the doctor. During the test, they found that my gallbladder couldn't be found in the image at all because it was covered by a 15 centimeter thing. At that time, they didn't know what it is yet.
Wow.
But my family doctor read the report wrong. He read 1.5 centimeter and he drew a little circle on the paper telling me, it's probably nothing.
Oh.
I called my mom in China right away, and I felt a little helpless, even though at 1.5, I would still, because I'm alone in Canada.
Yeah.
I just felt a little vulnerable at that moment. Then after the phone call, she called me back and she said, come back to China right away. We'll get you thoroughly tested. It doesn't matter how big it is. We have to find out. So I went back, and the first team who saw my image on the MRI called more and more doctors to the room and asked us to wait outside. That's never a good sign.
No.
And after a big discussion, they came out with the answer is for sure cancer. It's 15 centimeter. Your gallbladder is completely covered in there. You need surgery right away. Otherwise, you only have a few months to live. So we keep on searching for second opinion. After seeing a dozen doctors from one city to another city to the best hospital in the country, same answer.
Wow.
Yeah, eventually I went back to Canada and had the surgery there. But because it's something that it's a problem that I couldn't solve by myself. So I prayed to God a lot during that time. And I think He helped me stay strong. And I felt very happy during the time, even though the family was crying all the time. Yeah. So that's when I picked up ukulele. I lost my job. I'm waiting to see the doctors and doing tests all the time. I had a lot of time. So I just sing and play ukulele all day.
Wow. Oh my gosh. See, I hate this. This is going to sound weird, but everything happens for a reason.
I don't view it as a bad thing. I felt extremely close to God through this experience, and I was helped by music a lot too. And I don't feel bad. And now I get to use my experience, like from all the love and support from family, friends, even strangers during this whole journey. Wow. I just have so much love stored now. I get to help others who are suffering what I used to suffer and give them the support they need.
Oh, that's amazing. And I think that's, like I said, everything happened for a reason. That's how you discovered and got to where you are now, writing music.
Definitely.
If that hadn't happened, you wouldn't have picked up the ukulele. You wouldn't have posted those songs. You wouldn't have met your husband. You wouldn't have found your friend who encouraged you to write music. So it's been a blessing, if that's an appropriate thing to say.
Exactly. I don't feel bad about it at all.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you play live shows very often? Or are you out singing and touring or playing gigs at all?
Not yet, but I'm preparing two right now. One in San Francisco and one in LA. They're invitation only, mostly for peers and media to see me live, because we do run into this problem with people. They're asking, where can we see you?
Yes.
So finally, we're going to start small, then we'll see where those two shows take me.
Are you prepared for that? Do you have any anxiety about that, or are you ready to go?
I saw your name, performance anxiety. I was wondering about that.
I try to work in every once in a while.
Yeah, definitely. I have anxiety all the time, but especially in front of people, because from my past experience, when I sing just by myself, just enjoy the song, it's always way better when there's somebody watching me.
Yeah.
So I have to work on that, and I have some performance coach helping me.
Well, look, this is only my opinion, but I'll tell you what, you beat cancer. Singing in front of a crowd is nothing.
Thank you. I think my goal is just to be myself. And, just like you said, you heard the emotion through my song, even without understanding the words. And I want to do that as much as I can, even when there are people watching me. Just remember what stories I'm telling and try to tell the story right.
Right.
That's my goal.
Well, I think this is an incredible story. I think that I would love to see you play. I'm on the East Coast, so hopefully one of these days you can come over to like the Washington, D.C. area, because
yes,
I would just love to hear you do this in person. It would be amazing.
Thank you so much. And one day, if I'm performing close to you, I would love to invite you.
I will be there, and I do a lot of live music photography in the area. I shoot a lot of the bands that come through. So I would be thrilled and honored to bring my camera and take photos of the performance.
Thank you so much. I've been wanting to tell you something from earlier. I've done many interviews, but every time is different. Mostly depends on the interviewer.
Yeah.
What kind of energy you bring to the table and how much you are interested in the story instead of just asking all the questions on the list. Oh. So I really enjoyed talking to you.
Oh, thank you so much. That means the world to me. That I will tell you one thing that I like to do when I'm enjoying the conversation as much as I am this one. I love to have people back on a second or third time, and we can just talk about something different. What I'll do is we can pick a subject that's not you, because we've already talked all about you in this episode. So we can make it a little less anxious for you. We can talk about, maybe we do an episode on Barbra Streisand, and we can talk all about her music. And I can invite maybe one or two other guests, and we can just do a little round table, have 2 or 3 people, and just discuss something else, so that you're not as...
Oh, cool.
So I will definitely stay in touch, and I'll follow you on socials, and we'll try to work something out for the future and get another episode going.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed talking to you, and I would like to talk to you again anytime.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, where can people follow you and find your music?
Yeah, just search my name, Miist, the singer, on all the social media. And it's the same name for my website. It's www.miistthesinger.com.
And by the time this comes out, the album will be out, because it's coming out very soon.
Yes, it's on every major music platform.
Oh, okay. Perfect. So
yes,
by the time everybody gets a chance to hear this, it'll be available to everybody. So go check it out. And I'm just so grateful that you came on the podcast and spent some time with me and told me about your journey. And I think it's very courageous. I think it takes a lot of guts to do what you're doing. You know, when I have a lot of people on who are like, oh yeah, I've been playing since I was a kid. When you're a kid, you're stupid. You know, you don't know what you're doing. You get there. Once you started a whole life and you have a family, it's much more difficult to change and do something that's, instead of accounting, that's steady. And there's always the need for an accountant to go into something creative. I think it's very courageous for somebody to take that route. And I applaud you. And I thank you for doing it, because your music is beautiful.
Thank you so much. It's funny that I do think about that when to start a music career, that question too. And I agree that if I discovered my gift before this age, I would have wasted it. I needed the life experience to do what I do now.
That's like you're saying, that's God looking out for you. He knows when the time's right.
Definitely.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been so much fun.
Thank you, Mark. I had a lot of fun. This is one of the most enjoyable interviews I've ever had.